Street, be a fanatic about response time. Today I'm with Alex Topshe, and we're going to talk about this week's fundamental. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, Terry.
Thanks so much for being with me today. Alex, can you share with us your thoughts on what specifically we all need to do to get better about our response time, given the volume of requests and emails that we constantly receive?
Yes, that's everybody has that issue with emails, and oftentimes that's what kind of distracts us from what's important, and also for getting back to people for requests that they've made to us. So really, if you get a request from somebody, the worst response is no response, and communication is the key. So first thing you should do is just acknowledge that you got the request. But shortly after that, you pull out another fundamental and get clear on expectations. So oftentimes, and I'm guilty of this too, just people will make a request of us and they don't say when they need it. They just say, this is what I need. And so it's incumbent on the person who's getting the request to get clear on expectations or set some expectations. And I'd say a good example of that is actually Tracy, who, when she sends out her 10Ks and 10Q drafts to people, she asks for response and edits to those drafts by a certain date. So people, she sets it out there clearly in the very beginning. So basically, what it comes down to is managing communication. And to your point about emails and chats and all the other correspondence that we have, the main thing there is to prioritize your emails, prioritize the requests and the work that you have to do anyway. And so the way that I do that works for me, particularly for emails, is I won't read emails in the very beginning of the morning. I won't read certain emails. I'll just scan the list and see like what's important. If there's anything that needs immediate attention, I jump on that first. And then I leave the others just unread, so I'll come back to them. And Outlook actually has a really good feature, and you can turn on the focus email filter. So you have it'll put it, when Outlook itself will kind of prioritize your emails and put it into like a focus section and then other. And so you only see the focus emails in the very beginning, and you can prioritize that way. I also leave emails. I'll open emails, and then sometimes I have emails just sitting open for like a whole day, and I'm trying to get back to them. But that way, it doesn't look like it's read, and that gets buried. And so, if I haven't responded, then it just gets buried. So I'll leave it open, or I'll flag it and put a reminder on it if it's something that I've got to come back to. But I always try to respond to people and say like when I'm going to get on it, or that I got the request and that I'm working on it in some way. And you should probably try to respond within 24 hours, depending on the priority, the severity of the request severity, or how important it is.
Right.
Urgency, really. So really, and then finally, I also use checklists a lot. And I'll have like a daily checklist, a weekly checklist, and I'll review that continuously. And so when I get a request, it'll go on the checklist, and it just goes into my priorities. And another thing that I have to do, it'll just go on the list, and the list is never complete. It's always going to be something on there, and you're constantly adding to it and deleting it. But the main thing is to do that, and then have an idea of when the due date is.
Right. So you need to be organized, and everyone needs to have a system that works for them, because if you receive a request from someone, everyone wants their question or their request responded to quickly. And as you said, probably in general, an email request, kind of a general expectation is a response within 24 hours. Do you think that's kind of?
I think that's fair. Sure.
Yeah. And as you also said, If it's something that requires like research or you don't have the information, if you just acknowledge to the person that you have it and you're working on it and that you'll try to get back to them by, Friday or by a designated day, as opposed to no response and then they have to follow up with you in a week to, kind of find out what's going on, which becomes very frustrating.
Right.
So we have a few more minutes. Can you describe a situation where you asked for information from someone multiple times and you didn't hear back from them? And what did you finally have to do to get that information?
Yeah. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but
But it's a
just
very
just in
frustrating,
general,
it's
yeah,
very
yeah, but
frustrating.
generally, yeah, that happens all the time, happens to all of us. And I'd say the simple answer is pick up the phone because emailing back and forth and things, it just continues to get buried and doesn't help. So pick up the phone and just say, hey, did you get my email? This is important. Um, you know, I tell me when you can get back to me, or I need it by X date. Just to remind people. And sometimes it just gets buried. It's an honest mistake.
Right. Yeah, for sure, because all the back and forth emails, it's a waste of time and it is extremely frustrating. And preparing for today, I found out that responding within an hour increases successes by 700%. It seems pretty huge. Um, but greatness needs a lot of things, but it doesn't need an audience. Just do it. Nike. So, Alex, I want to thank you for being with me today, sharing your thoughts on this, especially important fundamental about response time. Broad Street, let's all think of one thing that we each specifically can do this week to be better about response time. Everyone, have a great week.
Thanks, Terry.